Welcome to the Shulamite Podcast, an extension of Shulamite Ministries and Shulamite.com, with weekly interviews and teaching with author and speaker Martha Kilpatrick and hosted by John Enslow. This weekly podcast is a way to stay connected to the ministry. So come experience anointed messages, not giving just another method, but a living impartation.
We're sitting in Carol's living room. We've just had a lovely bowl of Thai coconut chicken soup. Yum. And so we're in the living room, and we're sort of rambling around about what's going on for the conference. But the main thing is the book, The Mystery of Discipleship, and the manuscript that Jennifer's gotten ready is just beautiful. The layout and everything is lovely. We've been talking about some warfare that we've had in this, and this is my verse for the day, and I've handed it out in cards, and probably be one of the cards at the conference. 2 Corinthians 4:17, for our momentary light distress, this passing trouble, is producing for us an eternal weight of glory. An eternal weight of glory. Isn't that incredible? This light affliction is going to give us something huge of glory. A fullness beyond all measure, surpassing all comparisons, a transcendent splendor and an endless blessedness from this momentary light affliction. Oh, so we look not at the things which are seen, but at the things which are unseen. For the things which are visible, everything you see, are temporal, just brief and fleeting. But the things which are invisible are everlasting and imperishable. And we've been just kind of going over the couple of things that hit me, and Jen had one, and how amazingly it was turned by going to the Lord, by reading the Bible, by praying, by getting his mind about it. It was all transformed into a major victory. Not a small one, but a lasting one. And that is so exciting, because that's supposed to be what happens when we're under attack. It's supposed to be turned. He always leads us in triumph. And one day it occurred to me as I read that, but remember that it doesn't mean he brings triumph in to the situation. No, it means I'm always in triumph. He always leads me in his triumph. I'm living inside his triumph. I may not know it, but if I will let that triumph appear, then it's amazing, and it's a huge overcoming victory, isn't it, Jennifer?
And not in the way that you expect it to be. I think that's the other thing that we were talking about was, I couldn't tell you where I got this idea. It could be from my own lazy self-wants and whatever. But I had this idea that if I was just in God's will, if I would just obey, if I would do what he asked, if I would be where he asked me to be in his will, that somehow everything would be hunky-dory, easy peasy, float like a butterfly. And it's not that sometimes that doesn't happen. I've certainly experienced where the whole day, it's like I'm being carried on a little boat, and I'm just zinging in and out of things, and time isn't passing the way it should, and everything seems to be just clicking and moving. There's not an obstacle to anything. I've absolutely had days like that with the Lord, and they are marvelous. But, you know, this has been something else entirely. I have had such joy in the responsibilities he's given to me, and I've had really an amazing experience of him doing them, of him teaching me new things, of it being fun. You know, I don't mean joy as in la la la. I mean, you know, it was fun, and that has been there. But there has also been consistent warfare, where it'll go from joy in what I'm doing to all of a sudden great discouragement, sometimes moments of absolute panic, that I've made a big mistake, that I'm, a drag on the project, these sorts of things, accusations, doubts, fears. And that has been more so than usual. I have certainly experienced that more so than usual. But likewise, he's also brought me out quicker than I've ever previously experienced with warfare. I was real pleased maybe a year and a half ago. I was like, usually I only get taken down for like 3 days now, and that was a real accomplishment for me, that it had been, brought down to 3 days, that it was only 3 days of, suffering and anguish and all the rest of that before he rescued me. I really felt like that was a step ahead. And now I have to say, for the most part, it all happens within a day. It's generally taken care of in that day. And so it's also been experiencing, well, I think maybe a new urgency by him to bring me over the obstacles, into the overcoming, into the triumph. It's always there, like you just said, Martha. It's not a matter of it not being there. It's there. But I feel like he's bringing me into the realization of it much quicker than I ever used to come into it.
I think I've had that too, Jennifer, and I'm always kind of shocked that we're hit. But to some degree, when you are hit, it signifies that Satan knows that it's important to God, and not so much that we deserve it, though we do. But this is Paul. This is where we probably are coming. We are hedged in on every side, troubled and oppressed, but not cramped or crushed. We suffer embarrassments and are perplexed and unable to find a way out, but not driven to despair. We are pursued, persecuted, hard driven, but not deserted to stand alone. We're struck down to the ground, but never struck out and destroyed. Isn't that awesome? And that's Paul. That's how important his work was. And that's how much he suffered on account of it. And then it says, always carrying about in the body the liability and exposure to the same putting to death that the Lord Jesus suffered. That's normal. So that the resurrection life of Jesus also may be shown forth by and in our bodies. And that's the glory, is the resurrection life. And I think we're experiencing it more than we know. That I'll tell a little, this is a Sunday, so I woke up and I felt like the Lord wanted me to go down to church, 45 minutes away in Dahlonega, and I didn't want to do it. I wanted to get to the writing. I had my little mind set, and so I got busy to obey it. And Carol went with me, and we had a wonderful time. But I wanted to write. Do you understand? I was on a path, and I wanted something to be produced because the time is short. We're going about the book on forgiveness. We've got to get it in. So I went to church and had a notebook with me, and I started writing in the church, and it was the beginnings of a chapter that I had been waiting for, and that's fabulous. I think it's fabulous. It's called "Who Killed Jesus?" Who really killed Jesus? And so that file is finished for the book, and it was extremely intense work all this afternoon, but it's done. And the point I'm getting to is that in the will of God, the unction of the Spirit flows. If I had not gone to church in his obedience, and really never saw why I went, but that doesn't matter. I don't have to see. But the unction of the Spirit, the anointing of the Spirit, the power of the Spirit is in God's will. And so when I got in God's will, he satisfied his desire and mine too. And so he may have just had me go just for a practice of obedience to his voice, to do what I didn't want to do. And
the only thing noteworthy was literally the will of God. That was the only thing that really happened. And that's what I find as well, is when sometimes you'll obey the will of God and you're like, but what was the point? There was nothing outwardly manifesting any kind of purpose. And so you kind of just say, what was that about? And it may all be about just, I say so, I'm God, and I want you in my will. I mean, you have no idea what it could have led to, what it could have been, or what you would have missed. You probably would have missed the chapter that you've been waiting for.
That's a great point, John. And I've already shared it with y'all, and you said it was...
It's amazing.
Okay.
It's absolutely amazing.
Jennifer called me and said the hair stood up on her neck when we got to the end of it.
So during this season of preparation, if you don't know, we're preparing for a conference in August 11th through the 13th, and we're real excited about that. But one of the things that we felt like we were to ask for from the Lord was these two books. One is the book Altogether Forgiven, is what you're working on, and then the devotional, The Mystery of Discipleship, that Jennifer and I have been just finishing up. And we're writing the back cover, and we're going to send it off to the printer probably tomorrow to get that thing printed. And then we got to get the rest of Altogether Forgiven done, and the cover and back cover of that done. And so, there has been a lot of warfare. There's been a lot of just weird things. I mean, my air has gone out twice. I hurt my back. There's just been various random, weird attacks. What'd you say? And distractions. They have been distractions. My air going out was prevented me from getting good night's sleep because it was hot, and at the same time my back was hurt. I'm like going, and we've all had something going on, and it just seems like this conference and what we're doing, there's just more warfare, and it makes perfect sense. We've got like a trifecta of purpose here. Number one, we have forgiveness, a book on forgiveness. Hello, that pretty much is a major deal. Then we have a book on discipleship, which is major. And then we've got the conference, that's The Road That Leads to Life, which is about the narrow way and about the centrality of Christ and about finding that narrow way that few will find and living in it and experiencing it. So you've got a trifecta of major important messages, and we wonder why there's maybe some blowback. We hope you've enjoyed the Shulamite podcast. For all the latest from Shulamite Ministries, please visit us at Shulamite.com, where you'll find Martha's daily devotions, posts from GetAlongWithGod.com, and the online library of all of Martha's writings. At Shulamite.com, downloading the free Shulamite app is easy, and LivingChristianBooks.com is only a click away. Thank you for joining us on this journey to discover a God worth knowing.